Welcome, everyone. It's Friday. Oh, yes, it is. I am so excited that it's Friday. I am, because I'll sleep in just a little bit tomorrow morning. Pardon me. Really, I'm ready. Let's see. If you've been on this my page for a while, you do know that we love us Neville Goddard because me and Neville Goddard are island mates. I grew up shopping at Goddard Supermarket. All these things. The Goddards are very prominent in the Caribbean, but I did not know that at first. I don't even remember how I came across Neville Goddard other than I was on YouTube one day and I saw the name Goddard and I said, wait a minute. Goddard is a Bajan name. It's a Barbadian name. And I hit listen. And as soon as he spoke, I was like, dude, that's my granddaddy. That's what my granddaddy sounds like. Like, what is happening? Who is this man? And I think that was back in 2019, maybe? No, 18, somewhere in there. Somewhere in there. between 2015 and 2018 is when I came upon Neville Goddard. Neville Goddard speaks of a quote unquote technique called revision. To revise means, and for us, when we say we are revising in Barbados, it means we're studying, yeah? Like for school. We're British, come on. So that's how we say it. But revision, he says, perhaps something happened to you in the past and you want to change that. See, now a lot of people, when they read that, they think they are somehow erasing the past. That's not what he means by revision. To revise is to mentally change your perspective of how that thing happened. You know, you can talk to 3 different people about the same thing and they'll have a different version of that story. Yes. Create your version of the way that story should be. Now, a lot of people think or interpret it as meaning, pardon me, pardon me, that it's somehow mystical. It is not. It is not mystical by any means to revise. The revision is forming a new neurological pathway in your brain. The reason why I explain it to you this way is so that you will take yourself from a place of hoping, a place of longing, to a place of knowing. You understand the difference? Let's read what he says. Revision by Neville Goddard. To revise, remember the old incident and mentally rehearse it the way you wanted it to go instead. Revision changes the previous incident so that the present and future experiences change to match. How does it change that? It changes it. You see, the old way that you do things, remember the image of the field, okay? The field has a well-trodden path. You know, the pathway that everybody walks. And then there's a part where nobody does because there's no footpath. So when you look at the field and you see the footpath, which one do you think you're going to choose? Just naturally, you are going to choose the pathway that has been well trodden. It is familiar. There's safety in it. Well, how so? If you see the tall grass, you don't know what's in it. So you're more reluctant to do it. So you will take the path of least resistance. This is how the brain works. So that every time you practice a particular thing, you are now like that field. You're walking down a particular pathway day in and day out, again and again and again. So you're becoming the footsteps of thousands of people, thousands of steps. So that now if you stop and you look at that field, you know what pathway you're going to take. So if you use that with the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without, the pathway that you go down is going to be the path of least resistance. So the behavior that you have always done is the path of least resistance. So the story that you continually tell yourself is the story you continually will live out because it is the path of least resistance. It is the mental pathway, the neurological pathway in your brain that you have set down. It is a habit. So to revise is to start a new habit, a new neurological pathway, so that when a particular incident comes up, the old way that you used to act, you don't act that way anymore because you have spent the time, the mental effort to form a new neurological pathway. That is revision. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. They just realized that that phrase, can't teach an old dog new tricks, is false. So long as you practice, you will learn it and you will do it. So long as you practice. Because it is the practice, it is the persistent practice that forms the neurological pathway. Tying your shoes, writing, reading, speaking, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Those are things that you've learned, and you do them according to the way you've learned to do them. Period. So every time you want to do that particular behavior that you have learned, if a situation that is similar to that behavior arises in your life, you are going to act according to what you've always done. So to change, you revise. You look at the situation and you say, hey, I would prefer another outcome. I am tired of this folly in my life. You do not judge the folly. You see, we call them mistakes. They're not mistakes, they're neurological pathways. You see, perspective matters. If you look at it and you say, oh my God, that mistake haunts me. I keep doing it all the time. It's only because you've been doing it this whole time. So have a little bit of grace. Grace. Yes, the understanding, comprehension that, oh, I've been doing this for a while. No wonder I keep doing it. It's only because I've been doing it for a while. So in order for me to change, I am going to decide what new behavior it is that I would like to do. And the new behavior is, and you name it. Now, that new behavior has an associated or a corresponding feeling to it. Cause and effect, yes? It has a corresponding feeling. So that every time you're in a situation, one that you've done all the time, it feels a particular way. And because it feels that way, it is familiar to you, and you know when it feels that way, you know how you're going to act. There aren't any mysteries. Not if you're paying attention. There aren't any surprises. So long as you pay attention, you will see why you do it. Because it is accompanied by a feeling. So every time when I get that feeling, right? When you get the feeling, you know exactly how you're going to act. So to revise is to generate a new feeling over and over and over again. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why do you persist? Because you're making a new pathway. That's why you must persist. If you give up, you do not set down the pathway. Thereby, you continue doing the same thing you've always done. Yet, all the while, we want to complain that, oh my God, I can't change. No, you don't comprehend. You don't understand. And that is why you give up. If you understood what persistence meant, persistence does not mean forcing yourself to do something. Persistence means if I stick with this action, I will get a new outcome. You're not hoping that if you stick with the action that you will change. You do not have to hope. You have to know. Do you not know that what you rehearse, you act out? Yes, you know that. For those of you who drive, you weren't born driving. Perhaps born driving your mother crazy, but you weren't born driving. You did what? You learned, and then you persisted in what you learned, so that what you learned became what? Your habit, second nature to you. This is why the saying exists. It's like riding a bike. Once you've ridden a bike, it doesn't matter how long you go without riding that bike. The moment you get on the bike, you go down the neurological pathway of riding the bike and you ride it. It's like if you learned to drive on standard, you could have driven automatic for 5, 10 years. You learned to drive on standard. When you get in a standard vehicle again, you'll have to find the friction point. You may stall a time or two because you are remembering the neurological pathway and you're going to drive the car the way you learned. This is why you do not give up with your change. This is why you do not grow weary with your change. Once you know that the behavior you persistently practice, you will live out, well, then you will look in the mirror and you will know that you can. You will know, and there will be no more of this. I don't know how this is going to turn out. Of course, you know how it will turn out. So long as you practice, you know exactly how it will turn out. It will only go the way you practice. So, do you have to rock in the corner and wish for a fairy godmother who will say, I will grant your wish, darling? No, you don't. You can now look at your life, any situation. What kind of situations? Any situations. Why any? Because the situation is irrelevant. What do I mean by irrelevant? I don't mean that what you went through didn't happen. I don't mean irrelevant in that fashion. It's relevant. You experienced it. It is your life. What I mean by irrelevant is the situation can change if you apply the simple principle of revision. You look at what you are presently doing. Don't hate what you're doing. Don't hate it. It is you after all. So don't hate what you're doing. There's no time for that. Just look at it and decide, do you want to continue doing that thing? It's a simple answer. It's a yes or no. It's not a, well, I don't think it's, I didn't ask you that. Yes or no? Do you want to remain as you are, or do you want to change? Simple. I want to remain as I am. I want to change. Okay, start by answering that question. Step 2. What do you want to become instead of what you're doing? If you don't want to continue behavior A, what do you want to replace it? What behavior do you want to replace it with? And when you see the behavior that you want to replace it with, then you rehearse the behavior. Where, pray tell? You start to see it in your mind's eye. You see, we say in today's society that action is always required. It is not that action is always required. It is that action is the effect. The action you take is because. Cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. So the action is the effect. If you know how you want to behave, that is the action you want to do. So then the cause will be the mood that you occupy that will cause you to do the new thing you want to do. So what is that mood? That mood is the way it makes you feel to know that I don't have to remain as I am. Aw, snap, I can change. So when you say, wait, I can change? Yes. It doesn't matter. Listen, you could have been doing it for 60 years, 80, 100 years even. You could have been doing it for that long. But the moment you say, I want to do something different, and then you show yourself what that something is, and you rehearse that thing over and over and over, the inevitable outcome, because you have practiced, you have a brain. The inevitable outcome, the brain stores the information by way of a neurological pathway. And because the neurological pathway exists, you will act according to that neurological pathway. So again, you do not have to hope and wish and beg. You don't have, help me. I can't. I need a hero. You don't have to. You've just become your own hero by understanding, by comprehending. This is why I say that comprehension is the light. The moment you comprehend something, you have changed. I'll never be the same again. Oh no. I'll never be the same again. Oh no. The moment you make that decision to change, and you tell yourself what you want to change to, because now that's the principle of polarity. You make the decision to change, and you show yourself what you want to change into. The space in between what you are and what you are becoming, that distance depends upon how you rehearse it, how many times you rehearse it before it becomes second nature. So the next time you ask, how long is that going to take? That depends on you. How long are you willing to rehearse it until it becomes second nature? No one can withhold from you other than you. What you withhold from yourself, you will never have. I can't come along and say, I'm going to put a stick in your spokes and cramp your style. I do not have that power, my dear friends. You, on the other hand, you have that power by simply looking in the mirror. Why are you afraid to look in the mirror into your own eyes? Look into your eyes and you will recognize something. You will recognize that you are looking out your eyes. Your eyes are for seeing. Your ears are for listening. That's their function. But who is doing the function? You know what is. The eye is seeing, the ear is hearing, the skin, touch, feel. But who? You! You are. You ever seen a baby when they discover they have toes? Like pop it in their mouth like lollipops. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. They're like, oh my God, I have toes? I have toes. I have toes. And they're fascinated by the fact that they have toes. They've realized something. They are realizing that they have toes. What is it that you are realizing? See, when you look into the mirror and you look into your eyes, you're going to notice what color they are. But who is noticing what color they are? You are. So when you look in the mirror and you say, self, whatever your name is, self, I've been doing this thing and I don't like it anymore. It makes me feel kind of icky and it makes me feel like I'm kind of useless. It makes me feel like I don't matter. And I don't like feeling like I don't matter because I do know that I matter. Even if nobody tells me that I matter, I know that I matter. And I want to know that I matter. So if I mattered, how would I behave? How would I feel if I mattered? Well, I would walk into a room and I would look anybody in their eyes. So from now on, whatever room I walk into, I'm going to look people in the eyes. Whether it's for 2 seconds, 5 seconds, I'm going to look them in the eyes. And I'm going to smile or nod, but I'm going to look them in the eyes. I might be a little scared, but that's okay. Because you know what? You see that old neurological pathway that I used to have? That I couldn't look anybody in the eyes? I would always look down at my feet? Sometimes I may go back to that. Why? Because I just have not practiced looking people in the eyes. So I'm going to keep practicing. And every time that I want to look away, you remind me, no, this is your new you. Some people may say, well, Angela, that's just too much to remember to tell myself. You talk so much. But the reason I say it in the fashion that I do The reason why I explain it as if you were a youngster is because when you comprehend, when you understand what you do and why you do it and how you do it, you will know that you can, and your confidence will just emerge as an effect of your change. I'm not going to stand here and say to you, look, you just got to hope for the best. I know I tell you every day, like Neville Goddard does, experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. That's how he says it to you. This is why he's known as the world's greatest mystic. Me, I like layman's terms. So when I tell you that every time you practice, you are laying down a groove in your brain so that that's the groove you will follow. Well, now you know why you practice. And now you know why you don't give up. Now you know why you don't say, it's never going to change. Now you know why you don't say that. Because you now know that whatever behavior you rehearse. See, you can see it on the outside, but the reason you see that behavior on the outside is because you've been doing it on the inside. The impression is in your brain as a neurological pathway. This is why the principle of correspondence tells you as within, so without. That's why it says that to you. So the next time you hear somebody say, everything you need is within you. How? By way of neurological pathway. It is in there. How do you get it in there? You see it in your mind's eye. And the thing you see in your mind's eye puts you in a mood. And you will do that thing because the mood tells you to do it. Where's the mood? Within. But you see, we spend so much time being influenced from the outside that we think things occur from the outside. That's the only reason why. But they do not occur from the outside. They originate within, and we exercise them. As within, so without. The desire for the toddler to walk did not come from the outside. It didn't come from outside of them. They observed something, yes, with their eyes. That's what they see because they're at the level of where they see legs, right? And legs are moving and they're like, huh, how does that happen? What's happening there? And they start to see legs in their mind's eye as well. And they start to tell themselves, oh, so if I do it like this is why they get up and they fall down. They get up and they fall down. But they practice. Can you imagine if that itty bitty baby said, that is too hard. I have failed too many times. Would they walk? Not with that mental mood. Not with that mental attitude. No. Regardless of how many times you stumble, right? Oh, there's that lyric. Try to say goodbye and I choke. I try to walk away and I stumble. You know, makes it great, right? Doesn't matter how many times you stumble. What matters is that you are rehearsing. When you rehearse, it is inevitable that you stumble because that is what will cause you to correct the self to get it right, get it tight, so that it becomes the new thing. That's why the word mistake is just a bad idea. It is simply rehearsal. Trust me, I have burnt enough loaves of bread to understand. I have thrown out starter after starter until I got it right. So today, my beautiful friends, do not grow weary in your change. Whatever, just know that the thing you're the thing you are wanting to change, the thing you are desiring to change is only a habit. And how does one make a habit? Because we sure don't break them. It's a neurological pathway. The only thing that will break that one, well, Alzheimer's. It will literally erode it so that the connection is now gone and you don't know what to do anymore. But you can remember that you forgot. You're like, I used to know how to do this. But once a neurological pathway is set down, it's doggone near impossible to get rid of it. Unless, of course, as I said, the erosion of that neurological pathway by way of a dis-ease, right? So that's why you don't break a habit, you make one. And how do you make a habit? By doing the same thing the same way every time. So when you see this behavior that you are doing, why do I always make the same choice? Because you've rehearsed that thing. So that's why you make that choice. So when you look at it and you say, step one, acknowledge the present choice. Acknowledge it. Don't judge it. Just acknowledge. Oh my God, that's what I'm doing? Yes, it is. So now that you know that you're doing it, what do you want to do instead? Begin to see it in your mind's eye. Because that's the thing you would be doing. That one little thing, you would be doing it. So you start to see it in your mind's eye. You start to imagine it. Just begin to imagine it. You remember, you're the dancer. You're not an audience member. An audience member just watches. They don't participate. But the dancer watches themselves as they participate. That's why they have the mirror. So they know what they look like as they are doing it. So when they take the mirror away, they know what they look like. That's why you practice, so that you see what you look like, so that when you get out there and you do it, you're like, I know what I look like. Because you've done it. So you have to do it. And the more you do it, this is why you experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. The reason you rehearse it is so that you can, we call it what? Muscle memory. What is muscle memory? The neurological pathway. Why do you think your muscle remembers where to go? Because you told it to by saving the action in your brain as a neurological pathway. So you see, do you think you have to hope for change and wish for somebody to come along and save me? No. That's why Neville Goddard can tell you, you are either your own savior or your jailer. Why? By the habit that you generate through your practicing. So today, my beautiful friends, to revise, remember the old. You want to look at it. Not to reminisce and to complain about it, but to look at what you're doing. You must see where you are. Why? So you can decide where you're going to go. Well, if you don't, and what does Esther Hicks call it? Contrast. You see where you are, and then you compare it to where you want to go. And you say, I would prefer this lifestyle. You want your soft life? What would you be doing if you were living a soft life? There's something you would be doing that would confirm for you that you're having a soft life. Well, then begin to rehearse that thing, that mental attitude of someone with a soft life, over and over. You don't have to, because this is where we get stuck sometimes. You don't have to wonder how that soft life is going to show itself. You don't have to wonder how it is going to show itself. You need to know that it will show itself. And how do you know that it will show itself? Because you are rehearsing the behavior of soft life. As within, so without. That hops in my backyard that has taken over the fence. Ooh, it said, "This fence is mine, girl. It is mine. So is your patio furniture." And it has completely ensconced it. When whoever planted the hops planted it, they did not know how it was going to grow. They just knew that they were planting hops and the hops would grow. So your rehearsal is the seed that you are planting. You must reap what you have sown. But we get caught up in the, how is that gonna grow? Mind your business. Your business is planting the seed, which is the rehearsal of the new neurological pathway you want to set down so that it becomes muscle memory, so that it just becomes a thing you do. But deliberately, not unwittingly, deliberately. See, because sometimes we live life unwittingly, meaning we just go in with it, not knowing or understanding why we do what we do. So today, my beautiful friends, just revise. You don't like the old? Great place to start. Then define the new. And the new has a new behavior. This is why scripture tells you can't put new wine in old wineskins. This is why we have the saying, new brooms sweep clean, but old brooms know the corners. The old wineskin has been used many times and has taken the shape of what you put in it. Right? That's what it's done. You've put wine in that wineskin for so long that it's taken on the shape and it knows. But if you pour new wine in there, the old wineskin is not designed for that. It has no time to lay down and stretch. No. New wine, new wineskin, until the new wineskin becomes old by way of use. Old brooms know the corners. They've been molded and shaped to match the corner. The new broom can't match the corner because of why? Insufficient use. And that is what persistence is. Making the new the old, which is muscle memory. Why do you make it old? Why would you say it like that? It means you broke in those new shoes. To break in the new shoes, you got to wear them till they take the shape of you. This is why you do not grow weary in your rehearsal. Because you know as long as you wear those shoes, they will mold and shape themselves to your foot. So that when you go and put them on for the millionth time, your foot just slides in and you go, oh, these are my favorite shoes. They weren't always your favorite shoes. They were a little bit snug, but it is your persistence in wearing them. I think I've given you enough analogies to encourage you to stay faithful to the change that you want to embody. So don't ask me how long it's going to take for your change. keep wearing the shoes until you stop feeling them. Not because your foot's numb, but because you've broken them in. You've worn them until they are familiar. Neville Goddard says, do it until it feels natural to you. That's why you persist. So the next time you hear, why, Mr. Anderson, why do you persist? Because I choose to. And do you know why you choose to persist? Because you know the outcome of your persistence is your change. So don't tell me you cannot change your life. Don't tell me it was always that way and it will always be this way. It is that phrase that keeps you there. Well, that's how it's always been. And then that is how it will always remain if you keep that mental attitude. You are not stuck. You can't be stuck because you'd be breaking the law, and the law cannot be broken. Everything moves. Nothing stands still. So the only thing you're stuck doing is the same old, same old. Anyway, that's all I wanted to tell you on this glorious Friday. That's all I wanted to tell you. So who's here with us today? Oh, Melly Mel is in the house. She's the first one in the chat this morning on YouTube. Hey, girl. I see you. I wonder who else is here. I wonder if my lovely Liza is in the house. Well, the better man might be there, too, because I'm so used to saying your names. I expect it. Neurological pathway, right? Twitter. Well, Twitter is the replay gang. Who's on Fanbase? Oh, your girl has to scroll on Fanbase this morning. Ow. Miss McQueen, I see you. Ursula, darling, I see you. Moon and Dolphin Duck. Big Mike is in the house. Lance, darling, I see you. Ray Ray. Mama Gina, as soon as I saw the word mama, I said, Mama, life is just begun. Anyway, I see you. And Michael, dearest, I see you too. So today, I thank you for spending this time with me. What does YouTube say? These 42 minutes. Thank you for spending these 42 glorious minutes with me. Lil Bit is not awake just yet. Oh, but he will be soon. And I got to be ready for him, because you know how he will holler this house down. Did you know that people have miniature cows as pets living in their house? Oh, and you thought because I have a rooster, I'm weird? They got a whole cow. Lord, help me. A whole cow. But these little miniature ones, they are so cute, though. I was tempted, but I already got enough poop on my hands. I don't need more. Listen, step one, recognize where you are and admit it to yourself. Granddaddy taught me, you can lie to anybody you want, but you can't lie to you. So don't even try it. So admit where you are right now. Admit that thing that you hate doing. Admit it. The thing that makes you cry and rock in the corner, admit it. Because the minute you admit it, it loses its power over you. And then step two, decide. If you don't want to do that, what do you want to do instead? And begin to see it in your mind's eye and do it in your mind's eye. Remember, you're the dancer in the mirror. I'm your private dancer. Let me stop. You're the dancer in the mirror. So you got to do it and watch yourself do it. Oh, why do you think I'm such a big people watcher? Because I watch myself. But you know what? That's another day. Watch yourself as you do it. Because then it becomes to feel, it's not awkward anymore. Oh, he ready. He's awake. Watch yourself do it so that you become familiar with every movement. so that you can say, yes, this is the new me. This is the new me. This, every time you do that action, the new action in your mind's eye, you say, yes, this is the new me. This is the new me. Step 3, you know the inevitable outcome of you rehearsing is you living it out. So the next time I hear from you, it's not to, you see, when you're telling, this is why I tell people, I don't need to know your business. I don't need to know your life story. I just want you to answer one question. Do you want to keep doing that thing? Yes or no? That's what I want to know. Because you see the story that we keep telling? Oh, that story is the dance. The story is the dance, and you are so familiar with every dip and thrust and whatever it is that you do. Honey, you cannot out holler your mama. Yes, you can. That's 30 something plus decibels that we can hear. Oh, like a jet engine. But every time you repeat the old story, and you tell that story and you complain and you say, you will never guess what she did to me. You will never guess what he did to me. Oh my God, I can't stand this. Mhm. See that story that you're telling? Yes. You are so familiar with that story. You know every turn, every dip, every curve, you know it. Well, you have to practice telling the new story until it feels just as good to tell that one. It feels better to tell that new one than it does the old one. And then one day, do you know what happens? You become the new. Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got to tell you. Fan base, thank you for the love. Love. Love will keep us together. Ray Ray, baby, you know how we feel about politics up in here. But that's another day. So, what are you going to do? Will you remain as you are and tell me that you can't? That there's no hope for you? Hope? We don't deal in hope. Hello. Hope is like, that's possibly your neighbor's name, Hope. But hope is like a vapor. It vanishes so quickly. You must have something substantial, which is the knowledge and the application of the knowledge. So what you gonna do? Remain as you are? Or change? Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? I love you. And you know I'll see you again Monday, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Fanbase, Twitter. Shoot, I might even get a little bit bold and risque and do TikTok. Ow. Who knows? But I'll see you 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to hang out with me and the chickens. Listen, we are up with the early bird, and the early bird gets the worm. Literally and psychologically. The early bird. Yeah. You get the inspiration that you need. Anyway, I do love you. And as always, much love to you all. Mwah.